This is clearly a parody and not intended for kids. Viewer discretion advised. Storytime with Tom Foolery presents The Four Little Boars, written by Elizabeth McAlarney. The Borenstein family had grown bored with the sty. They decided they wanted to give van life a try. They bought a used van and had a sale to unload all their earthly possessions before they hit the road. They all had a blast exploring the nation, stopping at every tourist destination. But their vagabond life took a turn for the bleak when their van broke down. It was an antique. Rich in intangibles, but no traditional wealth, Papa Boar attempted to fix the engine himself. Much too stressed to get his jaw to unclench, Papa growled, "Without thumbs, I can't hold a damned wrench." This forced them to pivot to continue their trip. They bought another used van, sadly less well-equipped. It still worked for a time, all enjoying the travel, but without enough space, they began to unravel. By the side of the highway, one bright afternoon, they spot a creature so strange, it could be a cartoon. Flabbergasted, Mum pointed, trying not to stutter. "Jeepers, that's a horse, of a different colour." Sister Boar rubbed her glasses, and then she inspected. "I think it might be a huge dog," she corrected. Brother cried, "Zoinks! You can call me insane, but we can't leave the dog here. It would be inhumane," he continued. "Due to her unusual hue, I think I'm going to name her Blooby-Doo." 4 hogs with no room was already a strain. The last thing they needed was a full-sized Great Dane. "All right," Papa sighed. "We can pick up the pup. Then I think, gang, it's time we agree to split up." No one objected, so the very next day, the 4 boars went off to make their own way. Brother Boar was hit hardest by this whole ordeal, so the family let him have the automobile. Without any funds, he did briefly consider just living in a van down by the river. But brother, with no sense, nor a cent to his name, found a small plot of land to call his domain. He built his own house, a live-in red flag, a glorified tent of single-use plastic bags. Before long, a wolf wandered out of the woods, seeking breakfast, and thought bacon sounded good. Queried the canine, "Won't you let me come in?" Denied brother, "Not by the shaggy hair on my chin." "Then I'm afraid, little boar, you leave me no choice. I shall blow your house in," came the big, bad wolf's voice. So his house collapsed, with only a breath. Beneath the rubble he braced for imminent death. "Zoinks!" he cried out. "That bad breath could kill. Honestly, but who can afford a dentist in this economy?" When Bloob gave chase, the wolf scampered away, and Brother Boar survived to die another day. But who, he wondered, had demolished his lair? Of the perpetrator, he'd not seen hide nor hair. Now, the author partakes in recreational herbals, so in this crazy mash-up, the dog is non-verbal. In the debris of his house, Brother found in the dirt a cornflower paw print on his 3-wolf moon shirt. "What is it, Bloob?" Brother asked. "Are you chilly?" He put the shirt on her. She felt a bit silly. Observing his house, which was reduced to trash, he said, "Let's head to Mum's place. She should let us crash." So they drove off to Mama's, her house also flawed. She had chosen to build using just plastic straws. It was not long after the two settled in that the hungry bad wolf came knocking again. "Let me in," said the wolf. "I'd just like to be friends." "Bullshit," Brother snapped. "I know how this one ends." Said Mum, "Not a chance. By the hairs of my beard, I'm in perimenopause. Don't look at me weird." "Then here is my threat. Mark my words, it's no bluff," warned the big bad wolf. "I shall huff, and then puff." "Mind your snout," Brother whispered. "Her breath is atrocious. We can survive the collapse, but die from halitosis." With one gust from her lungs, the house fell right down. Turns out plastic straws are not structurally sound. From the detritus, Bloob sprang out once more to chase the wolf off, protecting the boars. Mama griped, "Bloody hell, I didn't see the unsub." "Nor did I," Brother snorted. "Welcome to the club." "You were right to alert me. That breath was obscene," Mama ventured. "I bet that funk could melt steel beams." Digging through the debris, everyone feeling glum, they find an azure paw print on a green jelly album. "What is it now, Bloob?" Brother Boar crooned. "Did you want to listen to some old 90s tunes?" In the van, Brother put on the CD. Who was wrecking their homes? Still a great mystery. Homeless, the three drove on to Dad's to see if he'd let them hang out at his pad. Papa Boar welcomed his guests with a nod. He had fashioned his house with unused coffee pods. The wolf reappeared and said, "You know what's up. Let me in or I'll blow down your house of K-cups." A little offended, Papa said, "Hey, you can keep your Keurig. These are Nescafe." Annoyed, the wolf groaned, "The sentiment stands. They'll succumb to my wind, regardless of the brand." The wolf, it turns out, was still being honest. The house tumbled down, just as she had promised. "Golly," Papa exclaimed, "that really smells heinous. Are we certain she blows with her mouth, not her anus?" Bloob climbed from the pile, shaking off coffee grounds. The wolf was already nowhere to be found. "I'll be damned," Dad said. "This certainly proves we have quite the cryptic conundrum on our hooves." "We'll regroup and rebuild," he went on. "We're a great team. We'll recover, or my name is not Borenstein." Brother nudged gently. "You mean Borenstein, Pop." "It gets mixed up so much," Papa sighed. "I forgot." They drove on to Sister's, again being displaced, covered in coffee, and a little red-faced. Sister Boar, being smarter and a bit of a snob, built a sustainable house out of wattle and daub. Sister spat. "I know all of you think that I'm spastic, but it takes hundreds of years to break down all your plastics. It's unfair to judge me, she said through a squint, because I happen to care about my carbon hoof print. Sister's wall held a painting, a two-wolf piece, representing a parable from native beliefs. Going up to the art, Brother Boar saw Bloob had printed another periwinkle paw. "What now, Bloob?" Brother asked. "Do you have two wolves inside?" Bloob's only response, an exhausted side-eye. "And one wolf thinks I'm stupid. That honestly tracks," Brother said. "But the other, I bet, wants some snacks." At the mention of treats, in a pretty big towel, Blooby-Doo started drooling, like someone rang a bell. So the pair drove off, with food on their mind, to market to see what snacks they could find. They discovered a vendor selling fish on a stick. "This smells tasty," said Brother. "It should do the trick." As Brother drove back to Sister's abode, he hit a pedestrian crossing the road. It's the wolf he has hit, and she's mostly unfazed, after the trauma, just a little bit dazed. She screamed at him, "You nearly killed me! You should never drive high on THC." The family ran out to see what was the trouble, and found themselves in quite the kerfuffle. "The antagonist here is the wolf, I have proof," Sister shouted. "That camera, see, up on my roof." She tried it again, the respiratory attack. She wheezed and she wheezed, but my house didn't crack. We all nearly passed out. Her breath is just terrible, Sister gagged. "That stench, it is nearly unbearable." They noticed the wolf mask was knocked loose by the van. It's just a wolf costume, and Red Riding Hood's gran. Just then, police arrive, called by the neighbors, who reported observing suspicious behavior. Explained an officer, "This ballsy old broad is dressed up as a wolf to commit insurance fraud. She had to prove that the wolf was still out wreaking havoc, while he's actually been locked up in her attic." Her young woodcutter boyfriend needed to provide evidence to prove a no-body homicide. This whole charade is not just frivolity. They're trying to cash out on grandmother's policy. He went on. "We caught them while they conspired. Little Red was on our side, wearing a wire." Red Riding Hood stepped out and said, "I went undercover. I was too appalled by your big lies, grandmother." "You little bitch," Gran scoffed. "Blood should be thicker than water. I always regretted giving birth to your father." "Jinkies," squealed Sister. "This grandma's worth loathing. Turns out she's a cougar, dressed up in wolf's clothing." "Hey man," Brother said, "my dog's pretty smart. Bloob has been trying to cry wolf from the start." A policeman near Granny declared through a cough, "She smells worse than a skunk at a chili cook-off." "Telling a lady she stinks," said Granny, "is not polite." But she popped a breath mint as he read her rights. Grandmother sighed. "I guess it's off to the brig. I would have escaped, but for these meddling pigs." "You hear what she called us?" cried the cop. "What a loser. as he cuffed her and tossed her in the back of the cruiser. "Looks like that's a wrap," Sister squealed. "She'll face justice. Even little old ladies are not to be trusted." Mama agreed. "That is a relief. Now can I use your bathroom? I'd like to go brush my teeth." The bloopy bloopy doo end. The Four Little Boars, written and illustrated by Elizabeth McAlarney, narrated by Tom Foolery. A very special thank you to Elizabeth McAlarney for sending us the third in the series of the Borenstein Boars. We are reliably informed that there are more on the way. Why not follow her on social medias and say nice things to her? Did you hear about the explosion at the cheese factory? No one was hurt, but debris was everywhere. Let us know in the comment section if you're a big bad wolf. Or maybe you're a little pup. Or are you like Granny? A bitch. Yes, that's right. What are you going to do? Huff and puff? Finger the links on screen. More story time coming soon. See you next Tuesday.